Hello everyone, welcome to today's session. So today we will be talking about Kemdrum Dosh. What is the impact of Kemdrum Dosh and what exactly it means in your life? So without any further delay, let's get started. There is a common misconception about among people that if someone is having a Kemdrum Dosh, then all the miseries will follow in their life. So the person won't be able to hold a very strong position in the society, and at the same time he won't be able to have a very good designation in his workplace as well. So these are some of the myths that do prevail in current day, and let us address those. So what is Kemdram Dosh? First of all, let us address that, and let's talk about what exactly happens when a person has a Kemdram Dosh. So first of all, Kemdram Dosh, most of us must be knowing that if there is no planet on the either side of the moon and with moon, so moon is all alone. There can be aspect on moon, but that doesn't nullify the impact of Kemdram Dosh. So if moon is alone and there is no planet on the either side of the moon, on the either houses, then it counts as a Kemdram Dosh. Now, in when we consider planets, Rahu and Ketu are exempted. They are not considered as planet in this yoga. Second, if there are no aspect on the moon, then this Kemdram Dosh even gets aggravated. So the impact can be seen even further. And the general tendency of Kemdram Dosh, as your mind is alone, your moon is alone, the general tendency of these people are to stay alone, stay isolated, and they manage most of their work staying alone in isolation because they feel that their best productivity or the best creativity comes out when they are working alone. So this is the general approach of people who have Kemdram Dosh. Now, there are some positive points about Kemdram Dosh. Let us talk about that as well. So, pros of Kemdram Dosh. First of all, as there is no planet on the either side of the moon and it is not providing any energy to moon, none of the planet, the person becomes extremely flexible. So, whatever the person sees or come across, he makes a judgment on that on the very moment based on the circumstances, not on the preconceived notion or any biases. And that is a very good thing about having a Kemdram Dosh because the person will be extremely flexible with the approach. And in today's context, what I have seen that this approach works a lot. Second, if we see that because people have a flexible approach in their life and they're quite do have a very high acceptance for people. So acceptance becomes quite good. They are able to manage different situations pretty well because they have been flexible with their approach. One more thing, because moon is alone and for most of the specifically for the early part of their life, what happens is when moon is alone, they have a tendency to stay alone. And for early part of their life, because most of your schooling and your job must have started, and that has happened in the early part of your life. So that basically defines the kingdom dosh in the first part. So as you have done most of the things alone, without any help of the other, that actually makes the person quite capable of doing most of the things single-handedly towards later half of their life. So in a way, in later half, this Kendram dosh proves to be a Kendram yog rather than a dosh. So it should be considered to be as a blessing in the later part of the life because these people are generally mentally more stable than others. As I said, it makes you mentally more tough because you have been doing most of the things single-handedly of your own, and that is a very good thing. Now, cons of Kemdram Dosh. As I said, we live in a society, and our general tendency should be to be supportive to everyone, to communicate with everyone, to collaborate with everyone. But Kemdram Dosh, on the contrary, has a tendency to uh, make the person isolated and make the person stay lonely. Uh, then, because it gets difficult for the person to collaborate with others, to associate with other. these people do see a lot of struggle in their early part of their life. And also, what I have seen that lot of thoughts are getting into their mind because mind is free, so they welcome any thought that can come in, and because of that, they are struggling with lot of energies, what lot of things at the same time. Uh, Also, what I have seen that for most of the people, as they are extremely flexible, they are extremely creative in their work. Few work which requires a lot of discipline. In those work, these people are not quite good. Uh, in general, what I have seen, if a person is lacking a bit of discipline, my first suspect would be that this person must be having a Kemdrum Dosh. And because of this lack of discipline, generally these people suffer from loss of money. And also one thing, because they do have a general tendency to be alone, this yoke can drift a person towards sannyas. So these are some general things which I have seen from Kemdram Dosh. What happens if a person has a Kemdram Dosh? Let us look at some of the case studies and also case studies of some of the celebrity, just to understand what exactly happened in their life because of this Kemdram Dosh. So this is one example I have, and here Moon is alone. So Moon comes out to be the seventh Lord placed in the ninth house in the dual sign, and there is no planet on the either side of the Moon, and Moon is aspected by Venus. So one thing I can infer is, as seventh Lord is in Kemdram Dosh, it is weak. There must be some issues related to her marriage, and because Moon is in the dual sign, it could even lead to a second marriage. So exactly the same thing happened to this woman. She got married quite early in her life, and then she got divorced, and she's getting married again very soon. So this is how Kemdram Dosh impacted her. Uh, if I talk about her general nature, she is also quite flexible. She is also quite has a lot of acceptance towards the others. In those things, in those ways, Kemdram Dosh does give the impact. But at the same time, when I talk about the stability factor, then that is missing in her life. Let us come to second case study. Here we have Moon placed in the fourth house. There is no planet on the either side of the Moon. Neptune and Uranus can't be counted as planets in Vedic astrology. Uh, for this student, he is quite young and he has been doing extremely good in his studies. What made him so good in his studies is that Moon is placed in the fourth house, and fourth house Moon is considered to be very strong, at least from academic perspective. If someone has Moon in the fourth house, you can easily conclude that that person will be doing very good in his academics. For most of the cases, I've seen that. So this student is a school topper. He has been doing extremely good. In one of the Olympiad exam, he stood first in the entire state. So here, what Kemdram Dosh is doing, that it is making the person extremely flexible. So he is he is quite open to other subjects as well. So there are many subjects in schools, as we all know, and when you have Kemdram Dosh like this, the person becomes open to most of the subjects and has that willingness to learn more, because Moon is placed in the fourth house, and fourth house is primary house of learning, your primary education or your education that you have acquired from formal means like school, colleges, etc. So here Moon is helping the person to do good in his academics, in his studies. Let us move on to another case study. So here we have Moon placed in the seventh house, and it is placed with Ketu, and there is no planet on the other side of the Moon. Again, a classic example of Kemdram Dosh. So what we can infer from this chart is Ketu and Moon, and Ketu in the seventh house. First of all, it will give a split in the married life or in a relationship, and this will actually create a tendency which will dishearten the person. So exactly the same thing happened. His marriage got fixed, and just 2 weeks before the marriage, it broke. Uh, so the main reason being Moon placed in the seventh house with Ketu, and there is no aspect of any other planet on this. So there is an aspect of Saturn, but Saturn itself is a separative planet, which again shows separation. So in all, this is causing a break in the marriage, or you can say even a relationship as well. So let us move to another case study where we have case study of a celebrity whom we all know, and quite a well-known case study, a well-known celebrity. So this chart is of Virendra Sehwag. So for Virendra Sehwag, we all know he is quite flexible, and first he was batting down the order in his early part of his career. He is flexible with his bowling as well. Uh, he's flexible with his batting approach as well. So not any, so doesn't have any fixed batting style. But again, we all know that there has been a bit of disciplinary issues with Virendra Sehwag. So he goes with an aggressive approach from the very first ball, and at times which costs him his wicket. Uh, and we all know that for Virendra Sehwag specifically, if we see, we have been seeing a phase of his life where he has been doing extremely good. Then there has been phase where he has been doing extremely bad. He was out of the uh, playing squad. Uh, Being flexible here is also one thing that we can notice from his chart, because he was part of the Test team, ODI team, and T20 team. So all of the three at the same time. But then, if we talk about disciplinary aspect, so his only approach used to be to hit the ball. If it is in zone, he can't leave it. It has to be played and it has to be hit hard, which at times used to cost his wicket and become a burden on the entire team. So here, Kemdrum Dosh, that lack of discipline part, being too much flexible and too much creative, is taking a toll on the creative and taking a toll on the discipline. So this was the analysis of all the case studies and how Kemdrum Dosh exactly works. Uh, if you like the video, or you have any opinion about the video, do give me a feedback in the comment section. Let me know how you liked it, and let me know your experience with the Kemdrum Dosh. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.